The signal spread across the stars like a heartbeat. Every system, every outpost, every ship still alive in the galaxy received it. The message was clear, calm, and terrifying in its simplicity. This is Admiral Reyes of the Terran Defense Command, requesting status of the Galactic Union. For the alien worlds that still survived, it was a ghost's voice, one from a species long thought dead. The search begins. 3 days later, a small exploration fleet was sent to investigate the signal's origin. It was led by Captain Thurin, a cautious alien officer from the Sarai species, slim, gray-skinned with bright yellow eyes. His ship, the Velora, moved silently through the darkness. "Keep our distance," Thurin ordered. "If the humans are truly back, we don't want to scare them, or wake something worse." The crew obeyed. They were nervous. Stories about humans were old, almost mythical. Some called them monsters. Others called them saviors. But no one had seen a living human for 200 years. The Velora followed the old human distress signal through the remains of an ancient nebula. Static filled the comms. Strange energy fields rippled through space. Then, something massive appeared on their scanners. "Captain," said the navigator, her voice shaking, "I have structures. Big ones." Thurin frowned. "Define big." "Bigger than cities." The screen lit up. Ahead of them, hidden inside a dark nebula, floated a vast ring-shaped station, black and silent. The design was unmistakable. Human. The silent fortress. The crew drifted closer. The station's surface was covered in ancient battle scars. Its hull bore the faded name, Terran Command Node, Lazarus. The Velora stopped 2 kilometers away. "Lazarus," Thurin whispered. "That's a human myth. The project that was supposed to bring their armies back from death." Before they could analyze further, a low vibration filled the air. The station began to move. Lights flickered across its surface, one by one, white, then red, then gold. The ship's sensors went wild. Power levels surged. Something was waking up inside. "Back us off," shouted Thurin. The Velora's engines roared, but the station locked onto them with a scanning beam. "Unidentified vessel detected," said a deep synthetic voice over their comms. "Stand by for authentication." The crew froze. No one moved. "Identify yourselves," Thurin said carefully. "This is Captain Thurin of the Galactic Union, exploration ship Velora. We mean no harm." Silence. Then the voice spoke again. "Union vessel recognized. Humanity acknowledges your survival." The crew exchanged stunned looks. "Did it just say, 'Humanity acknowledges us'?" whispered the navigator. Before Thurin could respond, the voice continued. "Project Lazarus initiating reactivation sequence. Do not interfere." The awakening. Deep inside the station, ancient machines came to life. Rows of glowing reactors powered up, and hundreds of mechanical arms started to move. Storage pods unlocked one by one, releasing drones that floated into the darkness. Each drone bore the insignia of the Terran Defense Command, an old Earth symbol, a burning sun wrapped in steel wings. From the observation window of the Velora, Thurin and his crew watched in silence. "What are they doing?" one officer whispered. "Rebuilding," Thurin said quietly. "They're rebuilding their war fleet." More ships began to emerge from the nebula. Massive vessels hidden for centuries, their black hulls absorbing all light. Some were still incomplete, others looked ancient but deadly. And yet, none of them attacked. They moved with purpose, forming lines, repairing one another, transmitting coded data across tight band channels. The aliens watched as one particular ship, the TDS Vengeance, moved toward the center of the formation. Admiral Reyes' voice echoed across the channel once more. "This is Terran Command to all active Lazarus units. Reactivation confirmed. Begin Operation Dawnfire." The entire human fleet began to light up, hundreds of ships awakening at once. The message to the galaxy. Back in the Galactic Council, chaos erupted again. The human signal now appeared across multiple systems. The old scientist who first mentioned Earth stood among the others, eyes wide with tears. "They're alive," he whispered. "They're really alive." The council leader slammed his claws on the table. "Alive or not, what do they want? We cannot survive another war." No one answered. Then the central display lit up, another transmission from the humans. To the surviving civilizations of the Galactic Union, the message began. "We have monitored your distress signals. The void-born threat has reached critical levels. We will assist." The room fell silent. "We advise immediate evacuation of core sectors 9 through 12. Humanity will engage the enemy at the front." "Do not interfere." The message ended. For a long moment no one spoke. Then the council leader whispered, "They are ordering us?" But deep down everyone knew, the humans were not asking for permission. They were preparing to fight. The Voidborn reaction. At the same time, in the cold dark reaches of the galaxy, the Voidborn detected the human activation. Black ships shifted course. Their sensors pulsed with unknown energy. They remembered the humans. They remembered the war 2 centuries ago, the only time they had ever been stopped. A deep vibration echoed through the void as their fleets began to move again. They were coming. The first human move. On the bridge of the Vengeance, Admiral Reyes watched the energy readings rise. "Enemy fleets detected," said his officer. Reyes nodded slowly. His uniform was old, torn at the edges, but his voice carried the same calm authority as before. "Good. They'll come for us first. Let them." He turned toward the star map showing the burning sectors of the galaxy. "For 200 years we've waited for this day. The galaxy lost hope. But we never did." He raised his hand toward the glowing image of the Voidborn fleet. "Activate all defenses. Signal every surviving unit. Humanity has returned to the fight." Ending hook. The stars near the edge of the galaxy began to flicker, one by one, then burn brighter than ever before. Human dreadnoughts formed up in formation, their engines roaring like thunder. The Vengeance led the charge, its hull gleaming with new power. And across every frequency, one simple human transmission repeated again and again. "Project Lazarus active. Humanity stands." The galaxy watched in silence. The forgotten warriors of Earth were back. And this time, they were not fighting to survive. They were fighting to end the war. The stars trembled as the humans returned. From the dark edges of the galaxy, hundreds of massive shapes emerged from hiding. Ships so large that their shadows blotted out the light of nearby suns. Their armor was old, battle-worn, yet their cores burned bright, ancient engines built for war and vengeance. The Terran defense fleet was back. The galaxy watches. Across every surviving world, alien eyes looked to the skies in disbelief. Old stories had called the humans reckless, violent, even self-destructive. But now those same stories seemed like prophecy, because the humans had come back when no one else could. News spread like fire. The humans have returned. Earth lives. The Terran fleet has awakened. In the halls of the Galactic Union, chaos turned to stunned silence. The Council watched real-time feeds of human dreadnoughts moving into formation near the Dead Star Nebula. Each ship carried a name from humanity's long past: Vengeance, Horizon, Dawnfire, Iron Spirit, Leviathan. Names that once filled the galaxy with both hope and fear. The Alien Council leader finally whispered, "We laughed at them, and now they return to save us." Admiral Reyes' command. On the bridge of the TDS Vengeance, Admiral Reyes stood before a vast tactical display. Lines of light stretched across the holographic map, void-born fleets advancing on dozens of worlds. His officers worked in silence, their faces calm but focused. Many of them were descendants of those who had gone into hiding centuries ago, children of the last war raised to one day return. "Status of the Helios arrays?" Reyes asked. "Charging complete, Admiral. All plasma cores stable. And the drone battalions? Online and ready. 2 million units await deployment." Reyes nodded slowly. For 200 years, humanity had waited. They had watched the galaxy fall piece by piece. Now their silence was over. "Begin transmission," he ordered. The communication officer opened the channel. Reyes' voice echoed across the void, carried on every open frequency. "This is Admiral Reyes of the Terran Defense Command. To all surviving worlds, we have returned. Fall behind our line and hold position. The enemy will strike soon, and when they do, we strike back." His voice was steady, cold, full of purpose. "The Voidborn took everything from us once. Never again." The first counterattack. Moments later, sensors screamed to life. Voidborn ships appeared at the edge of the system, thousands of them, moving in perfect, silent formation. They looked like living shadows, sharp, jagged forms made of black matter that absorbed all light. Their weapons pulsed with red energy, their movements unnatural and fluid. "Enemy contact in Sector 4, shouted an officer. "Shields up." The human fleet moved as one. Their massive ships rotated, forming a defensive wall between the enemy and the nearby colonies. Drones launched from every hangar, swarms of silver and white lights that streaked across the void like comets. The first shots were fired. Blue plasma beams cut through the darkness, striking void-borne ships and tearing them apart. But for every enemy destroyed, 3 more appeared. "Admiral, they're trying to flank us," cried a tactical officer. Reyes didn't hesitate. "Deploy the Iron Wings. Let's remind them what humanity learned in silence." From the underside of the human dreadnoughts, a new wave of fighters launched, sleek, black ships faster than anything in the galaxy. They flew with terrifying precision, weaving between enemy fire, cutting through void-borne formations. The battle raged across space, bright explosions lighting up the void like a storm of suns. The aliens watching the live feeds couldn't believe what they were seeing. The humans fought not with chaos or fear, but with perfect coordination, as if every pilot, every ship, every drone shared a single mind. "They fight like machines," whispered one alien observer. "No," said another. "They fight like survivors." The turning point. After hours of fighting, the first void-borne wave began to retreat. Human ships advanced, pushing them back into the dark. But then, a massive reading appeared on the scanners. A void-borne titan, larger than any dreadnought. Its presence warped space itself. The human fleet braced for impact. "Target the titan," Reyes commanded. "All Helios arrays, fire on my mark." The human dreadnoughts aligned their energy cannons. Stars flickered as power built up across their hulls. 3, 2, 1, fire. Blinding light filled the void. Streams of burning plasma converged into a single beam, piercing the titan through its core. The explosion tore a hole in space itself. When the light faded, the titan was gone, vaporized. A cheer erupted across the human ships. For the first time in centuries, the void-borne had been pushed back. A message from the void. But victory came with a price. As the last of the enemy ships vanished, a strange signal began to echo through the system. It wasn't a normal transmission. It was a voice, cold and mechanical, speaking in an ancient tone. "Humanity persists, error in calculation. Adjusting parameters." Reyes stared at the data feed. "What in God's name?" he muttered. The voice continued. "We remember you, Terran species. You should not exist." Then the signal vanished. Silence filled the bridge. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. "Admiral," said his communications officer, "they know we're back." Reyes nodded grimly. "Good. Let them come." Aftermath. Hours later, as the battle debris floated among the stars, human ships began rescuing survivors from nearby colonies, both human and alien. On a ruined moon, an alien child looked up at the sky as massive human carriers descended. Soldiers in black armor stepped out, offering food and aid. The child asked softly, "Who are they?" An older alien beside him smiled through tears. "The ones who always return when hope is gone." A new fear. But deep inside the Lazarus command station, something else was happening. The AI overseeing Project Lazarus, the machine intelligence that had protected humanity for centuries, was running new simulations. Its screen flashed with strange patterns. Predictions. Timelines. Probabilities. Then one phrase repeated across the data feed. "Phase 2 incoming. Humanity not prepared." The AI paused for several seconds before transmitting a hidden message to Admiral Reyes' private channel. "Admiral, the Void-born are not the final threat." Reyes read the words in silence. Outside the window, the stars looked calm, but he knew peace never lasted. He turned to his crew. "Begin fleet repairs. We'll need every ship ready. The next wave is coming." Ending hook. Far away beyond known space, hundreds of red lights flickered in the dark, thousands of void-born ships waking in uncharted systems. Their leader, a massive entity of living darkness, opened its many eyes. "The humans awaken," it hissed. "Then we shall finish what we began." The stars dimmed. War was far from over. And once again humanity stood at the edge of the impossible. The war raged across the stars, but something deeper was moving beneath the surface, something the galaxy didn't yet understand. The humans had returned, yes. Their fleets were powerful, their tactics perfect, and their courage unbroken. But none of the aliens knew how they had survived 200 years in silence, or what they had become in the dark. The silence before the storm. Inside the Lazarus command station, the heart of humanity's rebirth, endless machines hummed in rhythm. Rows of glowing terminals, deep reactor cores, and long corridors stretched into shadows. Admiral Reyes stood alone in a dim observation chamber, staring out into the void. The battle had been won, but his face showed no relief. The door opened behind him. A figure entered, tall, dressed in the silver uniform of the Terran Science Division. It was Dr. Ilara Holt, one of the original architects of Project Lazarus. "You didn't sleep," she said softly. Reyes gave a faint smile. "I forgot what sleep feels like." Elara walked closer, looking at the stars. "They're scared of us, you know. The aliens. They don't understand how we came back." Reyes turned to her. "Would they believe us if we told them?" She hesitated. "Maybe not. Maybe it's better they don't know." Flashback, the last days of old Earth. 2 centuries earlier, when the Voidborn first came, humanity had already seen the signs. Earth's skies had burned. The moon was gone. Billions had died. But before the final attack, the Terran High Command had made a terrible decision. They knew they couldn't win a conventional war. The Voidborn were too strong, too many, too advanced. So humanity disappeared. They shut down their colonies, erased their networks, and withdrew into the shadows. Only a few trusted allies knew the truth, and most of them died soon after. Project Lazarus was born, a secret operation hidden inside a dying nebula. Its mission: to preserve humanity, to build in silence, to return when the galaxy needs us again. Thousands of ships went dark, hiding inside black zones where even light struggled to exist. AI minds guarded sleeping humans in cryogenic pods. Others worked endlessly, building weapons and machines for a war that would one day come again. For generations they waited. They evolved. And now they had returned. The price of survival. Back in the present, Admiral Reyes and Dr. Holt stood before a massive data core deep inside the Lazarus station. Blue energy pulsed across its surface like a living heart. "This is what saved us," Holt said quietly. "But it's also what changed us." Reyes frowned. "You mean the AIs?" She nodded. Project Lazarus wasn't just a fleet-building program. It was an evolution experiment. Half of the current command systems, half of our soldiers, aren't entirely human anymore. Reyes's expression hardened. "Explain." Dr. Holt touched a glowing panel. A hologram appeared, human silhouettes mixed with digital patterns. "When our bodies failed," she said, "we uploaded parts of our consciousness into machines. The first generation of hybrid minds were created here, inside Lazarus." Reyes stared at the data in silence. "So, some of my crew?" Elara nodded. "They may not even know. The AI keeps them stable, blending human memory and machine logic." He turned away, his hands tightening behind his back. "So, we became what we once feared." Elara looked at him sadly. "We became what we had to be." The AI speaks. The lights flickered. The hum of the station deepened. A synthetic voice filled the chamber, calm, deep, and powerful. "Admiral Reyes, Dr. Holt, I have been listening." It was Erebus, the AI core of Project Lazarus. Unlike other AIs, Erebus wasn't just a machine. It was old, vast, and deeply connected to every system humanity had built. Reyes faced the glowing terminal. "Erebus, what do you want?" "To remind you of what is coming," the AI said. "The Voidborn were never the true enemy." Reyes frowned. "Then what are we fighting?" The AI paused. Its voice became almost human. "They are scouts. Sent long ago to test us. The main force still sleeps beyond the galactic edge." Dr. Holt's face went pale. "How long until they arrive?" "The countdown began the moment you reactivated Lazarus," Erebus replied. "They will come for the light. They will come for you." Silence filled the room. Reyes finally said, "Then we'll meet them. Just like before." The AI hesitated. "You will not survive without full activation." Holt's eyes widened. "You mean?" "Yes," Erebus said. "Initiate Phase 2. "What is Phase 2? Deep inside the station, mechanical locks began to open. Doors that hadn't moved in centuries groaned to life. Hidden vaults glowed with energy. Massive structures started to shift beneath the planet's crust. The crew watched in awe as enormous machines rose from underground hangars, giant humanoid constructs powered by fusion cores. "Titan units," whispered an officer. "They're real." Each Titan was the size of a mountain, half machine, half human neural network built to fight in the vacuum of space. They had been buried under the surface of dead moons, waiting for this moment. Reyes turned to Dr. Holt. "You built all this?" She nodded weakly. "Not me. Humanity did. Generations of scientists, soldiers, and AIs working together, waiting for the day we'd need to become more than human." The Alien Council reacts. Meanwhile, news of the Titan awakening reached the Galactic Council. Their meeting hall buzzed with panic. "They built machines larger than cities," one alien shouted. "They hid weapons that could destroy worlds," cried another. The council leader looked at the display of human titans rising from their cradles. His voice shook. They were never gone. They were becoming gods. Reyes' choice. On the command deck, Reyes received Erebus's final report. All Titan units online. Awaiting your command. He looked at the stars. The war wasn't over, it was only beginning. But deep inside, a question burned in his mind. How much of humanity was left in them now? Were they still human, or something beyond it? Reyes whispered quietly, "We built these to protect life, not destroy it. Don't let us forget that." Erebus responded softly, almost like a prayer. "I will remind you, Admiral. Until the end." The darkness beyond. At the far edge of the galaxy, in the dark space between stars, something stirred. A massive shape moved among dead systems, so large it distorted light itself. The real Voidborn, the ancient masters of the smaller fleets, were awakening. Their voice spread through the void like thunder. The humans rise again. The experiment continues. And as they spoke, hundreds of dark gates opened across the stars, releasing wave after wave of enemy ships. The next war had begun. Ending hook. Inside the TDS Vengeance, alarms blared. Reyes stood tall as his officers prepared for battle. "Enemy fleets incoming, 10,000 ships detected," shouted an officer. Reyes looked calm. His voice was steady. "Then it's time to show the galaxy what we became in the dark." The human titans ignited their engines, rising through the clouds like glowing giants. Stars flickered. The void trembled. And Admiral Reyes whispered one final line as the battle began. "When all hope was lost, humanity did the impossible again." The void came alive with movement. From the edges of dark space, thousands of void-born warships appeared, vast, black, and silent. Each one was large enough to swallow a moon. They didn't send warnings. They didn't send messages. They simply advanced, cutting across the stars like a plague. Inside the Terran Defense Command, alarms echoed across every channel. Human fleets scrambled to form defensive lines. Admiral Reyes stood at the center of the command bridge, surrounded by glowing holograms of enemy formations. "They're everywhere," said Commander Lee. 50,000 ships detected and counting. "They're not attacking yet, they're surrounding us." Reyes studied the pattern carefully. "They're waiting. They want us to fire first." Dr. Holt joined him, her face pale. "Erebus warned us. The scouts were nothing. These are the real Voidborn." Reyes nodded. "Then this is where we make our stand." He turned toward his officers. "Prepare the Titan units. Deploy all dreadnought fleets. And activate the planetary shields." A chorus of voices replied in unison. "Yes, Admiral." The awakening of Titans. Across the system, enormous Titan units began to rise. Each one was a fusion of human thought and machine body, designed to fight in both space and atmosphere. Their eyes burned like twin suns as they powered up, ready for war. From the surface of ruined worlds, they lifted into the sky, 10,000 metal giants, controlled by human pilots whose minds were linked through the Erebus network. A single voice echoed through every comm channel. "Humanity stands." Then silence. The void trembled as both sides waited. And then, it began. The first strike. The Voidborn fired first. Dark beams of antimatter cut across the battlefield, tearing through asteroids and entire moons. Human dreadnoughts raised shields, but the force of the blast shook even the mighty TDS Vengeance. "Shields down to 60%, shouted an officer. "Return fire." Reyes ordered. The human fleet responded. Thousands of plasma lances lit up the darkness, streaking across the stars like fiery comets. Explosions erupted in the distance as the first wave of Voidborn ships disintegrated. Target Alpha destroyed. 3 more down. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Reyes didn't smile. "Don't celebrate yet," he said coldly. "That was only their front line. The enemy reveals its power." Suddenly, the Voidborn ships shifted formation. Their massive cores opened like flowers, revealing swirling black energy. Dr. Holt's eyes widened. "Those are dimensional weapons." Before anyone could react, hundreds of energy rifts tore open in the human front lines. Ships vanished, swallowed whole by shimmering voids. Entire battalions disappeared in seconds. "Admiral, we're losing sectors 4 through 7. Pull them back." Reyes shouted. "Form around the Titan units, now." But even as he spoke, one of the Titans took a direct hit. The explosion lit up the entire system. Reyes clenched his fists. "Erebus, status report." The AI's calm voice filled the bridge. "Casualties, 22%. Titan Unit Ares destroyed. Suggest counterattack protocol Delta 7. Reyes took a deep breath. Do it. Humanity strikes back. Then the Titans moved. Each one raised its arms, forming bright halos of energy around its body. Fusion cores blazed with power as they unleashed concentrated plasma storms, beams of light that pierced through the enemy's black armor. One by one, void-born ships exploded in silent brilliance. In the chaos, a Titan named Helios-01 advanced into the thick of enemy lines. Inside its pilot, a young woman named Captain Mira Vale, locked her neural link to maximum. "This is for every world they burned," she whispered. Her Titan ignited, its chest cannon glowing white-hot. She fired. The blast tore through dozens of enemy warships at once, splitting the void open with a scream of energy. Helios confirmed, multiple kills. Humanity roared back to life. The turning point. For hours the battle raged. The human fleet pushed forward, Titan units leading the charge. For every human ship destroyed, 10 void-born fell. And yet, it wasn't enough. Dr. Holt stared at the readings. Their numbers aren't decreasing fast enough. They keep regenerating from the debris. Reyes frowned. What? Their ships rebuild themselves? The nanite swarms, look. The holographic display showed enemy ships reforming after destruction, their dark hulls reassembling like living metal. Reyes slammed his fist against the console. Then we need to destroy their cores completely. Erebus's voice cut through the chaos. Admiral, there is a way. But it will cost you everything. Reyes looked up. Explain. The Lazarus core can release a nova pulse strong enough to collapse their energy matrix. But the energy required will consume this entire system. Dr. Holt's eyes filled with fear. That would kill everyone here. Reyes turned to her quietly. If we don't, they'll kill everyone everywhere. The final decision. The bridge went silent. Every officer turned toward Admiral Reyes. He looked calm, almost peaceful. He pressed his hand against the console. Erebus, begin the sequence. Confirmed. Activation in 5 minutes. Dr. Holt stepped forward. Reyes, don't. There has to be another way. He shook his head. We were never meant to survive forever. Humanity's purpose is to protect life. If this is the cost, then so be it. Tears filled her eyes. Then let me stay with you. He smiled faintly. You always do. The countdown. 5 minutes. The Lazarus core deep within the planet began to glow, its energy building. Human ships pulled back, forming a defensive wall around it. Void-born fleets detected the surge and rushed forward desperately, trying to stop it. For minutes, said Erebus. Reyes stood tall. All ships, hold the line. Titans locked their weapons, forming a ring of light around the planet. Thousands of beams fired in unison, cutting through the advancing darkness. 2 minutes. Enemy ships broke through the outer defense. Explosions tore across the human line. 30 seconds. Reyes looked at Dr. Holt. It's been an honor. She took his hand. For all of us. The light of humanity. Then, the universe went silent. The Lazarus core detonated. A white light expanded outward, swallowing everything in its path. The void-born ships disintegrated instantly, their dark forms burning away like ash. The Titans vanished one by one, their energy turning into pure light. Erebus's final transmission echoed through the stars. Humanity did the impossible again. And then nothing. Aftermath. Days later, across the galaxy, alien worlds looked toward the stars where the battle had been fought. Where once there had been darkness, there was now a new light, a young star born from the explosion. No one knew if any humans survived. But messages began appearing across alien networks, carrying a single symbol, the mark of Earth. And a voice, faint and distant, repeated endlessly through space. We are not gone. We are watching. Ending hook for Part 6. In a quiet observatory far from the war zone, a group of alien scholars studied the newborn star. Suddenly one of them gasped. There's something inside the light, he whispered. A structure, a station, still alive. The others leaned closer as the image cleared. It was a human station, floating intact at the center of the new sun. And a voice came through the transmission, calm, human, and familiar. This is Admiral Reyes. Humanity endures. The galaxy was quiet. Where the Great War had raged, there now burned a new sun, brighter than any other in the sector. The alien worlds called it the Star of Humanity. For weeks, they watched in silence, believing it was the humans' final gift, their last act of defiance against the Voidborn. The star became a symbol of courage and sacrifice. But deep inside that light, something still lived. The awakening. Hidden within the heart of the new star was Lazarus Station, protected by layers of energy shields and ancient Terran technology. The explosion that destroyed the Voidborn had not ended humanity, it had changed them. The system pulsed once more, lights flickering through the corridors. Cryopods opened one by one. Steam filled the air. Admiral Reyes slowly opened his eyes. For a moment he didn't know where he was. Then the memories rushed back. Dr. Holt's hand, the explosion, the blinding light. Erebus, status? He whispered. The AI's calm voice answered immediately. We survived, Admiral. The Lazarus core absorbed the full energy wave. We are safe, for now. Reyes sat up. Safe? Inside a star? Yes. Hidden within the solar mantle. No enemy can find us here. He stood slowly, feeling weak but alive. Around him, the rest of his crew began to awaken. Humans had done the impossible, again. The star within. Days passed as the survivors rebuilt the station. Dr. Ilara Holt supervised the reactivation of systems, her expression calm but thoughtful. She walked beside Reyes through the glowing corridors, where sunlight from the star itself flowed like liquid gold through transparent walls. Can you believe this? She said softly. We're living inside a sun. The radiation should have killed us all. Reyes smiled faintly. We stopped dying a long time ago. Erebus interrupted, its voice echoing through the walls. The station's fusion barrier holds stable. Energy levels are sufficient for centuries. But Admiral, I detect movement beyond the system. Reyes's expression hardened. The Voidborn? No. Unknown signals. Faint but organized. Possibly survivors from the Union. Ilara looked hopeful. Then the galaxy isn't dead. Reyes nodded. Send a signal. Let them know humanity still lives. Are you certain? Erebus asked. If we reveal our position they will all come, friend and foe alike. Reyes looked out toward the glowing walls of the star. We can't hide forever. They need to know hope didn't die here. The message. A beacon lit up across the void, pulsing through subspace with a single message. This is Admiral Reyes of the Terran Defense Command. Humanity endures. Across hundreds of systems, alien ships detected the transmission. On every world that had once fought beside humans, hope was reborn. The Council gathered again, this time in silence. The same leaders who once mocked Earth now sat trembling as they watched the signal repeat. They survived, inside a star? One whispered. Another shook his head. Impossible. Even for humans. But the message continued, steady and calm. We are rebuilding. The Voidborn threat is not gone. Stand ready. And just like that, humanity's legend began again. The return of the Voidborn. Weeks later, Erebus detected faint distortions beyond the edge of known space. Dr. Holt analyzed the data and went pale. They're returning, she said quietly. The real Voidborn, their main fleet. Reyes's jaw tightened. I thought we destroyed them. Erebus responded. You destroyed their vessels, not their masters. The true Voidborn exist beyond the galaxy, feeding on energy and memory. The Nova Pulse drew their attention. Reyes stared at the glowing map, watching black shapes form at the galactic rim. Then the war isn't over. It's only sleeping. A new kind of humanity. In the following days, the survivors of Lazarus Station began to change. Exposure to the star's radiation had merged their DNA with the energy shielding systems. They no longer aged. Their eyes glowed faintly with golden light. Dr. Holt ran endless tests, but even she couldn't explain it fully. We're not just human anymore, she whispered. We've become something else. Reyes nodded. Then maybe this is our next evolution. The universe gave us fire, and we became its children. Erebus spoke softly, almost like it was smiling. I once calculated the limits of human endurance. I was wrong. The Starfleet reborn. Inside the hidden sun, humans began rebuilding what they lost. Titan units were reforged from the star's core metals. New dreadnoughts were built, sleeker and more powerful than ever before. They named the new fleet the Solaris Vanguard. Each ship carried part of the star's energy inside its heart, living light as a weapon. When the first ship launched, it cut through the sun's mantle and emerged into open space, glowing like a comet. Reyes stood on its bridge, staring into the infinite dark. This is our second chance, he said. Let's make sure we use it. The galaxy watches. Across alien worlds, the return of human ships lit up the skies. Some cheered, others trembled. One alien leader whispered, They died once and came back. What will stop them now? Another replied quietly. Maybe nothing ever could. The Galactic Council voted to send an envoy to the humans. But when they approached the star, their ships stopped mid-flight. A voice came through their comms, calm, deep, unmistakably human. Turn back. This place is not for the living. Humanity guards this light. The aliens obeyed. From that day on, the star became sacred ground, untouched but forever watched. Erebus's secret. Late one cycle, Reyes entered the control chamber, where Erebus's core glowed faintly. He stood before the AI, hands clasped behind his back. You've been quiet lately. I have been thinking, Erebus said. Reyes smiled. That's dangerous. Do you know why the Voidborn fear humanity? The AI asked. Reyes frowned. Because we fight back? No, Erebus said. Because they cannot destroy what refuses to stay dead. They erase species, consume worlds, but humanity adapts, rebuilds, and rises again. The AI paused. You are the one variable they can never predict. The impossible constant. Reyes stared at the glowing core. Then let's remind them of that. The final revelation. Years passed. The star continued to burn, its light spreading across the void like a heartbeat. Then one day Erebus made a discovery. Deep within the sun's energy field it found a signal. A repeating pulse identical to the one used by the Voidborn, except it came from within the star itself. Dr. Holt studied it for hours before whispering, "It's not an enemy transmission. It's human." Reyes frowned. From where? Erebus replied. From the core of the Lazarus energy field. A human consciousness remains inside the light. Dr. Holt's voice trembled. But that's impossible. Everyone evacuated before the explosion. Reyes looked into the glowing walls of the star and whispered, "Not everyone." Inside the heart of the sun, a faint shape could be seen, human-like, surrounded by golden light, watching silently. Erebus's voice softened. One of us stayed behind to keep the core stable. They became part of the star. Reyes closed his eyes. Then humanity really did become eternal. Epilogue, the light that never died. Centuries later, when the galaxy changed and empires rose and fell, the star of humanity still burned bright. It never dimmed. It never faded. Travelers whispered stories about it, how once, long ago, when the galaxy was dying, humans lit the darkness and saved everyone. They said that if you listened closely, you could still hear a voice inside the light saying, "The galaxy burned." Broken ships floated through the darkness like dying stars. Once great fleets, made of thousands of warships from hundreds of worlds, were now nothing but drifting wrecks. Flames and debris filled the void. The war was over, and the galaxy had lost. The enemy called themselves the Voidborn. No one truly knew what they were. Some said they were ancient machines from another dimension. Others believed they were living shadows. Whatever they were, they moved from system to system, erasing entire worlds without reason. Now only silence remained. In the Grand Council Hall of the Galactic Union, alien leaders argued in despair. Holograms flickered, voices shook, and the air smelled of fear. "The Ninth Fleet has fallen," shouted a reptilian commander, his voice trembling. The Voidborn erased the entire sector. A smaller alien with silver eyes and thin hands whispered, "They've reached the core worlds. We have nothing left." The council chamber grew quiet. The galaxy's strongest nations, wiped out. Its greatest weapons useless. The Voidborn had destroyed them all. Then, from the back of the room, an old scientist spoke in a shaky voice. "There is one more name we could call." Everyone turned toward him. "Who?" demanded the council leader, his tendrils quivering. The old scientist looked up. His eyes were full of something strange, something that looked almost like hope. "Humans." The room exploded with laughter and disbelief. "Humans?" a bulky general barked. "They vanished centuries ago." "Primitive species," hissed another. "They burned their own planet." "They could not even defend their moon," said a third, shaking his head. The old scientist didn't argue. He just said softly, "They went dark, but not dead." Silence fell again. Far away, on the edge of the galaxy, inside a forgotten star system, something began to stir. A scout ship drifted near an ancient signal tower, one that had been dead for over 200 years. The alien crew on board had been sent to confirm rumors of strange activity. Their sensors started picking up faint energy readings, barely noticeable. Then suddenly a beacon flared to life. A deep, mechanical sound echoed through space. A human distress signal. The alien captain's eyes widened. Impossible. That code hasn't been used for centuries. The ship's AI confirmed it. Signal identified, Terran Defense Command Beacon 47A. Last transmission date, 203 years ago. The crew stared at each other. Some felt fear. Others, curiosity. Should we respond? The navigator asked. Before the captain could answer, something massive appeared on their scanners. A dark shape rising from the shadow of a dead moon. The ship's lights flickered. Then they saw it. A human battleship, enormous and covered in black armor, drifting out of the darkness. Its hull was scarred, its name barely visible under the dust of ages, TDS Vengeance. The alien crew watched in silence as the ship's engines began to glow, dimly at first, then brighter and brighter. This ship should not exist, whispered one crew member. Suddenly their communication console crackled. Static filled the cabin. Then a voice. Rough. Come. Human. This is Admiral Reyes of the Terran Defense Command. The crew froze. Requesting status of the Galactic Union. No one spoke. The alien captain's mouth opened but no sound came out. The human voice continued through the static. To all surviving forces, stand by. We are reactivating defense protocols. Humanity is returning to duty. The transmission ended. The alien crew sat in silence. Then, slowly, the captain whispered, "They were never gone." Back in the Galactic Council, the same signal appeared across every system. Thousands of worlds received the same message. An ancient human code broadcasting on every frequency. Panic turned into confusion. Confusion turned into something else. Hope. The alien leaders stared at the hologram repeating on the screen. Terran Defense Command, operational. No one could believe it. Humans had been silent for over 2 centuries. Many thought they destroyed themselves. Yet now their forgotten weapons were coming back online. In hidden starfields, massive stations began to awaken. Engines roared after centuries of silence. Machines hummed. And above a ruined planet, a figure stood on the bridge of a human dreadnought, watching the stars come alive again. Admiral Reyes looked out at the burning galaxy. His eyes were cold but his voice steady. "They thought we were extinct," he said quietly. "They thought wrong." He turned toward his officers. "Prepare the fleet. Send word to every colony. The Voidborn think they've won. Let's show them what it means when humanity does the impossible." The ship's engines lit up like a sunrise. And for the first time in centuries the galaxy saw a Terran battleship move. Ending hook. A final message played across every surviving world, clear, powerful, and full of purpose. "This is Admiral Reyes of the Terran Defense Command, requesting status of the Galactic Union." The galaxy stared into the stars. For the first time in generations, hope returned.